Everyone, this is the hike to Bertha Peak right here in Big Bear, California, outside of Los Angeles, up in the mountains. It is a beautiful hike to a peak overlooking the lake. And it's about 7.5 miles round trip. It's, there's uphill obviously to get here, but it's not a super hard one. The trail's in really good condition. You come up Cougar Crest Trail, which has little benches where you can check out a lot of viewpoints along the way, grab a snack, catch your breath. It's a beautiful, beautiful hike. When you get to the top, you obviously have views of the lake, also San Gorgonio, Sugarloaf, and over there is Angeles National Forest and Mount Baldy. So, really, really cool spot. Highly recommend it. Really beautiful hike. It's a popular hike, so get here early. And if you want to do the hike, as always, I have a full guide on HikingGuy.com that has maps and parking information and tips on the hike. But otherwise, here are the turn-by-turn directions to get to this beautiful spot. So the hike starts in a nice big parking lot down here, trailhead area, but the parking lot gets full. This is one of the most popular hikes in the area, so if you come here later, you can park over at the Discovery Center. I'll talk about that on the website. But you just head right up this paved trail here from the beginning. You can see there's some mountain bikers. Mountain bikers are allowed all the way up Cougar Crest Trail, but not on the PCT. You don't really see a ton of them here, but sometimes you do. And you just keep heading up the paved trail until there's a split right here, and we're going to make the left up the dirt trail. Now, if you came from the Discovery Center, you're going to pop out over there on that bridge. But otherwise, we're going up on the Cougar Crest Trail. Now, the beginning sections of the hike are pretty wide. It's pretty easy to follow, and again, it's a popular trail. There are some small side trails that head off to different places. You're going to be staying on this main, big, wide trail as we go up here. And you follow a little wash. It's a really beautiful hike, and it's uphill. You can see it's not super steep, especially in this part. It kind of meanders uphill, and it's really beautiful right away here as we keep heading up. Now at this point, it's about a mile in, there's this stone garden here, rock sculpture, all these cairns. These are not navigation aids. This is just a nice zen kind of place to sit on the bench and soak it all in, so please don't knock them down. I've seen people do that. Not cool. Once you're done there, we're just going to follow the trail and continue to go up. And once you come through the trees right after that, you're going to get a glimpse of Bertha Peak, which is where we're going. Now this is an uphill hike, but as I mentioned before, it's not crazy hard. It's not like a big mountain climb. It is uphill, but there's Bertha Peak in the distance. You can see it there with some of the radio equipment up top. And from there, we're going to keep going straight, and again, stay on the main trail. We're going to avoid these little side trails here. There's some cairns that mark them as we go up, and we're just going to continue to head uphill on the trail here, on the Cougar Crest Trail. Now at this point, the big wide trail kind of morphs into more of a mountain single track trail going through the pines here. And it's more of a trail that you might expect up in the mountains around here. And you can see it's certainly gotten smaller just in that one section. Now at this point, you're going to see a bench, and you're going to get your first views down to Big Bear Lake. Now there's going to be a ton of views the whole way, so if you want to just stop and catch your breath, this is a good place, but otherwise keep on going because there'll be some great views pretty shortly as we go up here. Now, I've read some reviews online where people think this is really rocky. I think this is a rocky trail if you're coming from like a paved trail along the lake. But otherwise, this is about as rocky as it gets here, and also about as steep as it gets. You can see some of these stone steps. If you have trekking poles, that's going to be handy here, but I wouldn't buy them especially for this hike. As we continue up here, it kind of mellows out a bit as we go through the forest, and when we come up around this bend here, you're going to start to see the ridge and Bertha Peak. That's the ridge where we're going to be going across on the Pacific Crest Trail once we get up there. So at this point, you're almost up the kind of bulk of the climb. And when you come around that bend, you're going to come to the big area of benches. And there's about, half a dozen benches here. Great views, Sugarloaf Mountain, San Gorgonio Wilderness in the distance there. And you can check out one of these benches. And if you're just doing the Cougar Crest Trail and you don't want to do Bertha Peak, you can come here and turn around if you're tired. Otherwise, there's a couple more benches in a few minutes that I'll show you. But otherwise, soak it in and keep on hiking up. And the trail sort of twists around. We were going west, and now it's going to twist around and go east, back up to that ridge that I showed you earlier. And you can see it's uphill, but again, it's not a big steep climb. There's a decent amount of climbing, but it's not crazy hard. When you come to these benches here, this is the end of the Cougar Crest Trail. There's some nice views down there, and you'll see some little spots where PCT campers hang out here. Nice place to camp overnight. But this is the end of the Cougar Crest Trail, and we're going to go into the Pacific Crest Trail, which is right here at this junction to the right. And if you look back, you'll see a trail sign for Cougar Crest, and also a PCT sign that hasn't been stolen, only mildly vandalized by this point. We're going to make the hard right and then continue on the PCT up to the service road to Bertha Peak. Now the PCT here is real mellow. It's gradually uphill, but generally you follow the ridge. You're going to get some great views down to Big Bear, Sugarloaf, San Gorgonio as you go along here. And in general, it's pretty mellow and pleasant. And also, eventually, you're going to come through the trees, and you'll see Bertha Peak peeking out at you. There you go. Right there in the distance, that's Bertha Peak, which is our final destination of the day. We're going to keep going straight here, and then we're going to come to this trail junction. I see some cairns there. We're going to leave the PCT behind. We're going to make the hard right and head up the dirt service road to Bertha Peak. Now this is probably the steepest part right here after that junction. This is a service road. Obviously they have trucks that come up and service the radio towers up here, but it's still a nice hike. And after the very steep part, it does mellow out for some sections here. And it'll wind around the mountain, and you get some pretty nice views as you go up. At this point, there's a viewpoint ahead, but the trail actually, or the road, cuts back to the right here and goes up. And this is the last little section before we get to Bertha Peak, which I think it's 8,201 feet. Here's some radio equipment. Now to get to the actual peak, we're going to kind of bear left here and head up this little use trail up to the very top of the hill. And at the very top of the hill, there's of course another radio shack and radio antennae. But from here, we're going to get great views. This is the peak. You can go around the fence here, but you're going to get views down to Big Bear. You'll be able to see Angeles National Forest in the distance there, Mount Baldy. If you continue around the fence here, you'll be able to look up to the north. On a clear day, you can see down towards the Mojave and everything. And then from there, we're just going to go around back to the front. And again, we'll be able to see Sugarloaf Mountain, which is the big mountain that's closest to us. And then Mount San Gorgonio, which is the highest peak in Southern California, back there on the south side of the lake. And all the high peaks around it, like San Bernardino Peak. And yeah, that's the summit of Bertha Peak. You made it all the way to the top. So that's it. Once you reach this beautiful spot, you enjoy it, and you turn around, you just go back down the way you came, and that is the hike. So if you want to do it, as always, just go to HikingGuy.com. If you're on YouTube, there's a link to the full guide right underneath the video, and that will have information on the parking permit and things you need to know before you leave for the hike. And if you are on YouTube, if you could do me a big favor and just click that little thumbs up, that will help other people find the video. Hopefully do the hike safely. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments on YouTube, and I will do my best to get back to you. But otherwise, Bertha Peak, Cougar Crest Trail, if you have not done it, definitely put it on your list. It's a beautiful one. And when you're done here, you can go grab lunch and Big Bear, or fart around down there, or do some other hikes. There's a ton of hikes up here. All right, guys, I'll see you out there.